Okay, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is to announce to you that by 11:30 on dot, we're going to kickstart this event. Whatever you're doing right now, please let's begin to wrap it up so that 11:30, everybody should be seated, please. And you can also use this opportunity to familiarize yourself with the next person sitting next to you, please. Like I said earlier, this might be the only big opportunity you have to meet that person. Some of the people here today, they are big captains of industries that when you want to go to their offices to meet them, you need to follow a lot of protocols. But today, you are having the great privilege of meeting them one-on-one. So don't miss that opportunity of exchange numbers, contacts, social media handles, and of course, tell them your names. If possible, tell them about your businesses, so that after today, you know that you have added another contact to your already existing contact. DJ Rockefeller, thank you very much.
Thankful for all he has done. So me, I wanna have some fun. Steady rocking to the early man. Call your friends, them, make them come. Yes, I go see a star was fun. I'm a dunk Callian, come get some. I'm on the run. Enemies, them, fire ban. Boga dam, they say, no man can go say, you say, ale, ale, ale. Okay, I get the money, okay. Why make you rock your Sunday?
Only things to want, one more, only car to want, Kachakujo, Bala. Alhamdulillah, oh me for that, yeah. I'm a girl, walk, I don't want to go, but you power sporty, but you see no shorty. What you want, I'm on two, when you got a mood out to you, you're giving me Touch your body, touch your body, Hollywood, down, touch the body, touch your body, Isakaba, give me your bagasi. Your body looking like tsunami. Explosive Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Plenty of get don't make me miscalculate. Don't make me over the pay. Don't make me the misbehave. In the way that twerk. You don't make a man go. Again, pepe. Ever be your chase. Baby feeling the boy like Oleku. Also the way, oh yeah, see the way I'm on the twerk. Touch your body,
how will you go away? And it's simple. What's simple?
Open the fire, play the bed, do let them know. No finish you, no finish you. Man, no fit tire, every day I'm on the road. No limit you, no limit you. This now unzo you turn down for you robo. Many things we can do.
Awade, awade, awala nkamalede, awade. Shola ni ọmọ Amusa ra ń fún ọkọ súnra yá tún mi máa gbọ́ ní Kútọ́nù. Àwàdé ndé àwàdé àwa là ń gbọ́ mọ́lẹ́dẹ̀ àwàdé. Ìṣọ̀lá Amalẹ́dúnjí káfílẹ̀ kan sí di ọmọ ẹlòmí Àyìndé wà sí. Ìwọ gbọ́ ìwọ gbọ́ ó ń gbọ́ ní bá lágbàlagbà nínú òtútù tó tún láàmú. Torígbà tí mo wà lọ́mọdé, wọ́n ní bọ́mọdé lè ń kọ́ nǹkan láti lé. Ìwọ gbọ́, ìwọ gbọ́. Ó gbọ́ ní bálágbàlagbà nínú òtútù tó tún láàpọ̀. Torí ìyá mi bàbá wọn bí mi dá. Èmi gangan mo tó tún ra bí lórúkọ òun ṣe ń ga sí. Ìyá mi bàbá wọn bí mi dá. Èmi gangan mo tó tún ra bí lórúkọ òun ṣe ń ga sí. Bọ̀dé ti wé máa ń kọ́ bí mo ṣe ń kọ́ ibi ọkọ̀ Bọ́lájí. Ìyẹn màmá kò fọ́ṣì l'Amẹ́ríkà mi ní Long Island. Èèyàn ní ọmọ yẹn ní bí ọjọ́ kọ́ débì. Ìjẹ̀ṣẹ̀ lẹ́ni àtẹ̀kọ́ mi lẹ́ni ẹ̀wẹ̀rẹ̀ nànáyà tó tóbi àwọn èlébí. Àwọn Síkírù ọmọ ẹni bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ó ọkọ̀ Adébí kún mi sẹ́kì. Ẹkú tọ́jú mi ọmọ pọ̀ láwọn mi ọmọ ní fowó ṣe orí. Ìyá mi bàbá o wọ́n bí mi dá. Mi gangan mo tún túnra bí lórúkọ òun ṣe ń ga sí. Ìyá
mi bàbá wọn bí mi dá, èmi gangan mo tún túra bí, lórúkọ ọ̀run mo ṣe é ga sí. Ìyá mi bàbá wọn bí mi dá, èmi gangan mo tún túra bí, lórúkọ ọ̀run mo ṣe é ga sí. Bàtàkàsà bàbá ní bọ́wọ́ ṣe o. Bàtàkàsà bàbá ní bọ́wọ́ ṣe o. Bàtàkàsà bàbá ní bọ́wọ́ ṣe o.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please be outside. It is very important for us to begin to find our way into the arena. We have just 7 more minutes to round up whatever we are doing so that we can start this event. Don't forget we have 2 sections today, and then we are starting the first section any minute from now. 7 minutes more, we will start. Please, if you have somebody outside there that are supposed to be part of what we are going to start any moment, help me to tell them that we're waiting for them. We have a few more minutes for us to kickstart this event. 7 more minutes. And at this junction, we have 6 more minutes. So let's begin to find our way into the hall. Because our keynote speaker is already seated. The CVO is here already. He came in very early, leading by example. And of course, all the key players, they are already seated. So you have no reason to still stay outside thinking that, okay, when maybe, we like Africa time. That is our way. But today there's nothing like African time. Please, let's come in. 5 more minutes. I'm counting down to the kickoff of this great event. For some of us that are already seated, use that opportunity to help me and welcome somebody sitting next to you with a high five. Just give high five. Give high five. Tell the person you are welcome. Look at the person, eyeball to eyeball now. Why are you making it look as if? Do you know what it takes for you? Okay, do it this way. Look at the person. Shake the person's hand. Him or her say, how are you, my billionaire friend? Are you sure he's a billionaire? So if you believe that person is a billionaire, why not make it real? Like this. Yes, how are you, my billionaire friend? You agree with me now with the situation of the country. Millions are no longer relevant. So you need to step up your game. So once again, ask him, how are you, my billionaire friend? Ask him, when is our next billionaires meeting? All right. Thank you very much. If the person is good looking, tell the person, you look good. Look at the person and say, you look good. Tell the person, you smell nice. Tell the person, can I have your number? Or just ask him or her, do you have my number? Huh? Not too like money. Honestly, I find it very interesting to atmosphere like this because I will tell you this for free. Start today. Start today. There are some of us here that we feel like, to say I know I have collect that guy number. You know why? You'll be shocked that maybe in few weeks or few months time, the same guy, maybe you mistakenly took photograph with him. You're like, You now call your friend, Aki, you remember this guy now? Say, yes. At our conference in Abuja. He's not the DG. You now say, oh, I forgot to collect his number. Eh? That time, so once again, can you ask your neighbor, can I have your number? So for the next few minutes, we have just 3 minutes. Please, can you go around, network, ask for numbers, establish relationship? Can we do that in 3 minutes? In 3 minutes, just go around, make friends with people, tell them about yourself. If you are introducing yourself, make sure you carry yourself with, just tell them, my name is Dr. Ayodele. I'm the CEO. That's what they do for Abuja. Abuja, everybody na CEO. Most especially when you see people that put on, it's Babariga, or you put senator clothes. We just say, good, how are you, my friend? And everybody in Abuja are honorable. Yeah, man, I'm honorable doctor, ambassador. And mostly, their complimentary card, no, they carry address. We just see social media handle and phone number. Some of them you see presidency. Abuja are packaging. Once again, can you celebrate sitting next to you? Celebrate the person, celebrate your friend, celebrate your neighbor with a resounding round of applause. Today, my name is, okay, hold on 1 minute. All right. Okay, thank you. All right. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, like I said earlier, we're here to do business, to network, and of course, to expand the scope of our businesses. And today, okay, before I forget, my name is world famous Wale Baba CFR. If I'm good looking, please can you put your hands together for me? I'm a husband of one wife. In the whole of Africa, I'm the only man that my phone has no pattern, no lock. If I want to lie, I will not lie in the afternoon. How can I lie in the broad daylight with this? Whenever I close by 5 o'clock, 5:15, I'm already at home. If you want to send me money, I will say send to madam. Clap for me if I'm a good man. I'm still looking for her. And today, I'm going to be doing this with one of the finest female MC in the whole of Africa. This lady has traveled far and wide, and anytime, any day, she's always delivering our poly unit. All right.
My name is Adeyonju Kemisola Adeko. I'm from Ekiti State. The last page, people that we partner with and they promote them. That's what's unique there because we have a lot of people that we partner with, which is very, very good.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ambassador Moses Kolawole Obisheso. I'm actually the president of Unique Roses Multipurpose. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm also the CEO of Stratec Properties Limited. What I see, what I see that is actually for a program of this size, what I see that is very unique is that your program is devoid of all of the political paraphernalia. Yeah. All of the political paraphernalia in the front. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me chop your money.
His wife, who is called Kemi Obori. They are live and they'll be watching us live today from Canada, where they are from. They would have been here in person. We were consultant to MSMEs, what you see on the front of these, which is reliable financing model for sustainable African MSMEs. That was how we started in 2004. But then our focus was in technology for MSMEs. But it was difficult marketing technology to small and medium enterprises then. For those of you who are older like us, in 2004, there was no GSM. There was a mobile phone, but it's the one they call not 9 North. And for you to get that phone that time, it's either you are a general or you know a general or you know a colonel. Or when you eventually get the phone for 90, the only way the phone can work is if you put a United staff on your payroll who will be monitoring the phone for you. Now, imagine also that as at that time, the entire lighted telephone line is 750,000 lines for the whole country. Out of that 750,000 lines, about 300,000 were digital lines. And the other 400,000 was analog lines. That was when a minister of communication told us that telephone is not for the poor. And then we were marketing technology to small and medium enterprises. They would tell us that this one is a waste of money. All right? I think I did this. Now, when we then come up with a concept of how do we raise capital for small businesses so that they can take part of the capital we raise to buy technology. That was how we ventured into financing business in 2006. That is when we set up our second company called ACBS Limited. ACBS stands for African Capital and Business Support Limited. The whole idea was help small businesses to raise capital on the condition that part of the money raised must be used to buy technology. That was when we what is that? Over 14 full-time staff. Worked with them for over 4 years without earning a dime as income. Looking for one solution, namely how to raise capital for small and medium enterprises without asking them for what they cannot provide. Without asking them for their grandfather's grave, if they do not know where the man was buried. Or asking them to bring the skeleton of the man who died 74 years ago. The bankers said we were mad. That the only way to discover what we were doing is madness. We told them we are happy in this madness. Very soon, people will join us in this matter. But quite frankly, if I knew how tough that journey would be, I may not have embarked on that journey. But after 4 years of research, we developed a solution which we call Assured Invest. That solution that we call Assured Invest is what we are launching today. Some people joined this journey with us many years ago. In that regard, I'd like to recognize some people who joined this journey many years ago because they really need to recognize. One of such people is Dr. Mrs. Esther Abuja. Madam, please go ahead. Without people like Dr. Mrs. Esther Abuja, we will not be here today. She joined this journey in 2010. And she mobilized over 10 join that race. They have been very, very loyal to this cause. Working with her, I have crisscrossed at least 10 local governments in Kogi State. We have organized them into clusters, organized them into cooperatives, trained them to become global agents, trained them on factorization services. I should see her so she can drive a truck. Madam, please take your bow. I also want to recognize someone else. Sorry, my president, sir. Sorry, quickly, sir. For the purpose of those that are watching us online, we like to have so that the camera can see you properly. Please, can we celebrate it? Come this way, sir. This way, sir. This way, sir. All right, let's celebrate him, celebrate him, celebrate him. Can see. Because of the camera, you can see. Wow, very clear. Okay, it's okay, right? Can we celebrate it once more? Thank you, sir. I will also identify Mr. Gary Iwa Moku. Today, Giwa Mogorewa is the Vice President and Chief Mission Officer of Maistrade. When she joined us about 8 years ago, he was a champion of Grand Community. Some of us know what Grand Community is. Yes, sir. After trying to market Grand Community, I told him, okay, this grant is no deal. This grant is no deal. He said, no, the grant is coming. So when the grant comes, you can bring it for us to use to farm. But me, Benjamin Aduni, my hand on it. This process took about 3 years before he said this mic is better. Thank you very much. This process took about 3 years before Adidari called me one day and said, okay, I think you are right. That grant, no deal. And he is ready to work for the money now and forget Awufu money because Awufu not be Awufu. Yeah. But today he's a very, very energetic member and he is well loved within the community. All right. I also want to request that all coordinators of Maistrade, please get up. If you are a coordinator in the audience, please stand up. I need the camera to just speak to these people. These are the hearts of Maistrade. These are the people who are working tirelessly every day. They are the ones who are keeping. These are just representative, by the way. All over the country, we have 6 regional coordinators. We have 37 state coordinators. We have 109 senatorial coordinators, and we have 774 local government coordinators spread across the country. And the ones you see here are just representative of these coordinators network. These are the heart of Maistrade. We thank them and we celebrate them. Please give them a hand of applause. They make this program happen. They make this program happen. Oh, you can all sit down now. I like to celebrate someone who is begging me not to call her.
But if I don't do that, people like Dr. Esther will not forgive me. So this is our duty, please, brother.
We got married in July 24th, 2010. So just last week we celebrated our 15 years anniversary. On our wedding day, Dr. Esther Audu was there. He came all the way from Kogi to attend the wedding in Lagos. I can tell you that the 15 years has not been easy for her. Because I have been called absentee husband. Because of the rigorous travel I have to undergo, both local and international travel I have to undergo, including being away for sometimes over a year, sometimes for 18 months I was away. But she is a rock solid at home. By the grace of God, we have 4 boys. Not my fault, don't blame me. And the 4 boys are, I think they are fine. I think they are fine. Some of you have met one of them who is here. The other 3 are watching us. They are very upset that I didn't come with them, but I couldn't come with them because if I bring them, Madam will not enjoy this trip. So please, if you can help me thank her for being there. All right, you can sit down now. If you listen attentively to the program today, you will understand what Assured Invest is. We did not copy Assured Invest from anybody. We created it. We designed it as our own solution to our own problem. We are proud of what we have created. And we would not only solve our problem, we would export it to the world. It is a solution that can solve our financing quagmire. The moment I finish this presentation, which is a welcome note, we will listen to the keynote address, where Dr. Ayo Otaiku will give us the history of efforts by different governments in Nigeria to solve one problem, which is how do you finance small and medium enterprises? Because they are the engine of the growth of this country. The presentation will tell you about the problem and the fact that we have not found a solution. Then we will show you how Assured Invest financing methodology solve each of these problems one by one. We want you therefore to live here as worthy ambassadors who are carrying a solution to a problem that Nigeria has been looking for a solution for over 6 decades. And we're not talking Nigeria alone, we're talking Africa. So it's an audacious statement to make, to say that you have a solution that can lift not just 110 million multi-dimensional poor Nigerians to multi-dimensional wealthy Nigerians. That is the statement we are making today. that we have found a way to help Nigerians and Africans who are interested and willing to exit that poor status to a wealthy status. I don't want to use the word rich because rich is relative. What you consider as riches might not be what I consider as what? As riches. So I prefer to use the word wealthy because you can be wealthy as much as you want to. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a conventional summit, it's not a conventional conference. It's a conference loaded with solutions. We will not talk about problems today because we already know the problem. When Saraki was the governor of Kwara State, I was invited to a conference about agriculture. And the way I started my presentation was, most Nigerian conferences, what we do is repeat problems. Turn it around, talk about it, and after we finish the problems, we all go. No solution. Then we come back again next year, talk about the problem again, we all go. No solution. I was part of the participants of the Nigerian Economic Summit 2004 last year, happened in November. I was sitting down at the Congress Hall at Transport.
And what was this question about? Why SMEs cannot be financed, the problem of how SMEs can be financed. And I rose up my hand and they called me. And I told the audience that the last time I attended the economic summit was the 6th economic summit. That today we were attending the 30th economic summit. That this topic being discussed in this hall was also discussed in this same Congress hall in 2006 at the 6th economic summit. 24 years later, in 2024, at the 30th economic summit, we are still discussing the same problem. So in 24 years, we have not solved a problem we have identified 24 years ago. Something is wrong. If in 24 years we identified a problem and could not find a solution, and we are still talking about the same problem 24 years later, then something is what? It's wrong. The whole hall became quiet. And someone said, but this man is right. Oh. This man is correct. Oh. And I told them that day that I stopped attending the economic summit because I got tired of talk shop. When are we going to start this workshop? Because we can't be talking about the same problem every day. And I offered a solution. I offered a platform we have built. And I said I was willing to offer that platform to the federal government free of charge without charging a kobo. That was November 24 last year. Till today, as we speak, nobody has contacted me. So, we have decided to take the bull by the horn and solve the problem ourselves. Between November, when I offered that solution, our membership was 46,000 farmers. Today, 2nd of August 2025, our membership is in excess of 152,000 farmers. And I can assure you that by this time next year, when we meet again, our membership will be over 1 million serious practical farmers. So this is the beginning. We will tell you several stories today. We decided to make it a meeting of serious people. We did not want too much paraphernalia of noise. But we are recording this and we are going to stream it in different media houses online for people to see. We are not interested in accolades. We're not interested in noise. Let's get the work done. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Please, if you want to clap, you can do it properly and more. That was well crafted welcome address. And sir, thank you, sir. Once again, thank you, sir. Once again, thank you, sir. Once again, thank you, sir. Sir, do you know why I'm appreciating you that much? Some of us that public speakers, we travel virtually every weekend. Apart from coming back to say, where is my food? We hardly remember that we need to recognize a woman that is keeping the home front. Once again, thank you, sir. Can we celebrate Madam once more? Madam, you're fine. You be like today bread. Madam, have you been to Lagos before? There's something called agege bread. Have you seen it before? Do you know the brother of agege bread? You don't know? It is ewa going. So they are always together. Those people selling it, once the one with agege bread is going, the ewa going will be. So, on a lighter note, if I will ask, which name do you normally call Oga? With your permission, sir.
I call him Sherry.
Sherry. Okay. No, I'm a local man. Wow. So is this how you follow Oga to every event? Now if you say Oga, they miss a lot too. No. Let's not go there. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for this amazing, wonderful, supportive wife. Thank you very much, madam. We celebrate you. Let me invite my co-MC once again so that she will do us the honor of inviting our keynote speaker. Please, once again, round of applause for wonderful, amazing, beautiful Naomi. Smile now.
Please put your hands together for my poets. Alright, so the event has already started. This afternoon, I had the privilege to understand invite the keynote speaker. If you came here with your hands in the what were those hands to put into business today? I want you to think very please of them right now. Please put them together as I invite the CEO and Chief Scientist of Cooperative Biotech, Dr. Utako. For our very own keynote speaker, keep clapping as it comes forward. Please don't stop. Don't stop until he gets here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Please keep clapping as it goes forward. Thank you.
you, sir. I'm happy to be here. My name is Dr. Utako. I'm studying on the protocol of Mr. Ben Aduli. Well, I'll make analytics of what he said so that it's easy. The difference between a conference and a workshop is that this workshop, we have to show you technique. He's been making an emphasis that we should find solution and not a problem. So I will start by just one statement. The value of dam does not show on balance sheet. You know, if you're a farmer, you know they'll build this dam, they do the engineering work, but how do you put the value on it on the balance sheet? It's tough. Farming, water drinking, domestic, so that's what he's trying to create. He's trying to build a dam, so you can't value it, you can't quantify it. It does not show on balance sheet. So he emphasized that human capital is significant to tomorrow. He gave an emphasis of attending meeting where we always say the problem. But now, I'll show you something. There are two kinds of problems. Please, I need this slide. There are two kinds of problems. They have the normal problem and the wicked problem. Why I'm starting is I need to take him what he has said for us to move to the next level.
So, normal problem is, for example, I go home, I am hungry. Madam, they give me food, kitchen or canteen. Now, there's other one called wicked problem. The wicked problem does not have an answer, like funding. There are different sectors, like agriculture. The land is different. Every 1 meter requirement is different. Education is a wicked problem. Everybody needs for education varies. So he is trying to achieve a mainstream that we can fix problems that can be defined as wicked problem. Which means if we don't have the characteristics very well or defining very well, there can be solution. That was his narrative from what he has said. And that has been the national problem of the country and also the African problem. Now, by proxy, a global problem. So finance is not a normal problem. It is a wicked problem. So, and one thing you will see they've done this far. Let me start with the language construct. Reliable, model, sustainable. From his definition. You know, reliable might be transposed to resilience. Anything we do, can we sustain it? That's what gave back to sustainable. And you know, in the sustainable world, which means if we make money, we have to make it sustainable. If we create wealth, it has to be generational wealth. Now, let's come to the middle term now called model. Like he said, he's trying to build finance from every sector of the economy. So what is a model? A model is a simple representation of reality. Sorry, I'm trying to speak too much English, but we need to get the fundamentals so we can take something home. You know, so he said a model, something that works, something other country can replicate. So, and it takes time for him to do that for 21 years. So for you to get a model that works, you have to be able to get it first, change it to different things, and get the one that is reliable. So that's how they get their topic. Please, I would like this slide so that you can flow with me, but I can start before they get the slide together. So thanks, you are welcome here. And I've given you how they get the topic for the event. So Mr. Bent has been trying to focus from his narrative, the farmers, from 46,000 to 40 today. So, you know, I just told you that agriculture is a wicked problem. You all agree? Which means the requirement for each finance of every sector of agriculture is different. If you go to other sectors of the economy as well, it's different. So how do we get a blend that is going to be reliable to each person need, as well as making their business sustainable? That has been the focus of their challenge and their mission. And that's why they have representative across Nigeria. So we will take a dive into how finance in Nigeria have started and how we couldn't have a major problem. So let's go from the fundamental aspect of it. No, he asks a question. How come we couldn't find solution to our problem? That has been the problem of existential threat to Nigerians, to humanity
humanity as well. For example, if you check in our academic school, we are all product of curriculum. I want to show you why he's been having problem, how we will have problem, and why Nigeria has a problem. Remember in our academics, they said first degree, second degree, third degree. But you know, they always focus on dissertation, your thesis. There's nothing development there. You will take it from me. And that's why we can't have a solution. It is not a cost, but our procedure is not right. You know, we said model here. You know, we are using our thematic term here. Model is a simple representation of reality. So when you go to the academics, the people that teach everybody, so everybody sitting here, including Trump, we are all product of what? Curriculum. You can't be bigger than your curriculum. Everybody. That's how the world is designed. But when the curriculum is default, the information is default, the outcome is default. So somebody is doing a thesis, he said it's PhD dissertation. They remove development. So how can me and you, or outside, or the outcome develop? Did you see where I got here, how you got there, how the country got here? So did we design it to be research and development? So it's like a woman that has a recipe without cooking the food and says, I know how to cook. The outcome is the soup. So we need to restructure. So when you see what Maistrade is trying to stand for, it's just one word: development. You heard what he said? It took him 21 years to. Is it working? It's not working. So that is his research. So now let's focus between me and you, development. So if the country, black people, whoever in this part, that we don't put development to our dissertation. But the white man has different method of development which they won't give to us. So we will always recycle. You see what he has been saying, his experience with Nigerian NSC economic group. They will just recycle, still research. So when the development is not there, there's deformity. So I just did analytics before I run this. So you have an idea, fundamental, why we have it difficult to achieve success or a milestone. So we now have to go into redesigning our structure to put development into the research. So you imagine that the government spends so much money in the university. I went to Ibadan, you know, all that. But when you ask them, what is the development of your research? They say, no, you just came here to submit your report and go. And that is the model globally. So how do we have results? How do we have milestone? So you could see the pain he's going through. So he now tried to get a group of people to use as a model for his development. And that's why he's trying to come up with a narrative that I have a model that works. You see the keynote there. You see, I'm trying to reconstruct that statement so that you can understand his first fundamental. So life first is fundamental. Then you begin to talk of the next level, which is called derivative. So please, I don't know who is handling this slide. So please, if I do like this, next. If I do like this, you go back for emphasis. Next. So this is just the outline. Good. No, down. That's next. Next. When I do next, so it's easy for our people. Good. So this is just the big summary I've explained. So let's go back to the theory. Now, you know we have AU, African Development Bank, all that stuff. So we now discover through AU that we have a new agenda by 2063 there, that we want to fix our problem. But you know, we have not defined it. We have just researched everybody. So they remove development out of it. So how do we have result? You can see taking the narrative of Mr. Ben right there. So this summary here is telling you what happened, how we get here. You can see keyword there is 2063. That probably we can achieve sustainable development goal. You know, I gave you that. What they have taught us is research. They didn't put development. But UN and all those big partners say, okay, let us have SDG. Let's now develop. They have a 17-line model of it to show that there is a gap. And that gap is what Mr. Ben and Maistrade is trying to achieve. So you can't achieve this in the mainstream kind of economic development. That's why they're trying to develop a new model about how they fund MSE or SME. So MSE is difficult because half of the people in the world, they are not banked. And you know why? It's tough. Our great-grandparents are not banked because they do barter trade and they understand their system. But you know, there was first line agreement, there was treaty, and they obeyed the treaty. But now we don't obey treaty. So that's gave back to all this story you will see about developmental model of the world. Next. Just what now? Next. Good. So in this slide here, I try to explain that SME defined by Africa, by country, they have their different standard. So to my left-hand side, you see internationally they have their definition of what is SME. We Africans, you see I mentioned those 3 countries, about 5, they have their own definition of SMEs. So you now see that financing does not have one answer. It is a wicked problem. Why? It is not an answer you can get full stop in a sentence. It's always comma because we are all different. Parameter of business is different. The area of the specialty of the business is also different. So you will now see that agriculture, at least specifically, it's a wicked problem because definition of SMEs varies in each country. So now look at my country, Nigeria, to the left-hand side. We have our own definition of micro-enterprise. You see 1 to 9. You have the small and we have the medium. If you check Sierra Leone, their own is different. If you check ECOWAS standard, the target for the funding or the annual revenue is also different. So funding does not have a square fixed answer. It is like a spider mesh. So the environment determines the structure you create for it. So that's why you see funding, it's not a straight answer. So you can see from here, I just try to benchmark just these 3 and ECOWAS. Because its challenge is not that there is no answer, but you need to train people that understand the structure to fit into the demand of the user. But you see, because the way we are structured in Nigeria, we don't do development. It means you get close to the farmers, know what they do, what they eat. You understand? But not when CBN will tell you 15% interest, 17% interest. But you see, the structure, the parameter of business all varies. So you could see here from these analytics taking you across Africa and Nigeria and other countries, that answer is not straight. So it takes time to build a financial product. Because what Maistrade is trying to build is to get a financial product. To get that model costs money. It has to be able to do all the analysis around each people to know which one will work for each person. So it's like your DNA. Everyone is unique. And everybody's connected. So this is Gambia. You can see their own figure. You know, you see South Africa there. You see Uganda. So Maistrade is trying to get a portfolio because Nigeria size is huge. By 2050, Nigeria will be the 4th largest population in the world. So imagine if we don't have a structure now, how we will transverse, how we will scale up. And you know, doing a business is easy when it is small. You know, managing $1 million is different from managing $50 million. The same thing is different from managing $100 million. But you see, our people here in Nigeria, the regulatory authority, they don't want to do development. So they prefer transaction. So Maistrade is trying to do development, which is difficult. It takes time. You need to understand each person's identity because we are all different. Culture. You know, in some countries, land, women don't own land in part of Africa. Did you see that? But they have to do business. So where did they get the collateral? You understand? So, but when we now say we are doing business, we need to understand the dynamics of the business and what makes it sustainable. So these are the intricate things that we need to understand as a people. So Maistrade will have to make sure, working with the farmers, it has to be a learning community. Please, I need a slide. The learning community make easy for everybody to migrate from one to the next phase to the next phase. But it has been very, very difficult. So the next slide will show how did we get here in time of the history. You know, in the 50s, 60s, when we have history of our independence from the white people or our colonial masters, post-pre-independence went last between 1960 and 1960 and 1980. Everybody that got independence, Nigeria, so they start having what they call developmental bank as an institute. You know, that's how we have our BOI, Bank of Industry, Bank of Agri. So they are specialized banks for development, because we now know we have challenges to move from colonial era where they're not building capacity, they just do transaction. So now let's look at how did we get here that we don't have development. You know, the white infrastructure is for us to do transaction. You plant your cocoa, you take it away. You plant your rubber. Nobody is doing value chain. Did you understand? Let me give you an example. Take cocoa, Southwest. Our best in the whole of Africa is probably $8 billion a year from the 15, 13 countries that produce. But the market for chocolate is 84 billion. Let's take coffee. And back then, if you plant cocoa, you can do coffee. The ecology will carry it. I mean, the environment. I know my grandfather used to plant coffee back then, but he stopped. He couldn't pass it on. So now look at raw materials, coffee at 3 billion, and the coffee brand value chain is 34 billion. So who is making money? Now, the president of Uganda this year said, we are not exporting raw coffee again. We too want to do our Nescafe, whatever. So which means that development is better than selling feedstock. Did you understand, sir? So it is a national problem. Now let's talk to the power of Naira. There's nothing wrong with the Naira. The problem is us, because we want to do transaction. I'll show you something. Now, for 1 barrel of crude oil, which is about $80-100, you can have 34, 36 products from that same barrel Nigeria is selling at 100 naira. So if we are even making $1 on each, did you see the value chain? So, but you see, the people that gave us independence in 1960 and after almost 65 years, we are struggling to do value chain. Uncle Dangote and the rest people. So did you see how the Naira is bad? So it is our mentality, because they hand over transaction to us, not development. So we want to come and import from there. So that's what Ben is trying to do. That. Let's look at.
Just wanted to make a very quick announcement, if you don't mind, because we have a problem with the slides being up. The slides have been shared on the group chat already. Please kindly check the group, and you can follow what he's saying by looking through the slides on your phone, please, just so you don't miss out on a lot of things he's saying. Thank you, sir.
Okay, good. So I'll just run in my head. So the next thing was for me to tell you the history of developmental bank and what is the gap. So in that early time when we got our post-independence, so we have BOI, Bank of Industry, some are still there, but they came out with another story. That's our colonial masters, for us to do SAP, standard structural adjustment program, all that. But at the end of the day, they killed it to say we don't need development bank because they know the impact factor. So what did they do? They diversify, privatize it. So the implication today now is who take the risk, who take the shock. So the shock is not handled because somebody must do the fundamental work. You understand? To make it easy. So now when they take development banks, which are supposed to make sure that you teach people, give them daily training, because the funding parameter for development bank is different from a commercial bank. A commercial bank have no business with you. They just want transaction. They want their bottom line. You understand? So when you now see China and all those countries, most of their big companies are financed by insurance companies. Because you know why? Insurance take 20, 30 years. So they can call Mr. Ben and say, look, I can give you 4 billion for 30 years. Because insurance, there's no insurance for 1 year, it's short. 20, 25, they have the long money to play with. So those development banks in the world, they pick their fund for insurance claim globally. They own all the houses in Wall Street, Paris, so you could know, because if you start work and you're doing an insurance scheme for 30 years, they won't bother you. So you can retail this to be single digits, to 1.2, 1.3. So if you now have the size like Nigeria, like China, you can play well in the sense that people can now be able to do business and compete. So the question you ask you, how come we can't finance business to be competitive? This is where the challenge is. But we have the advantage, we have the size, we just need to restructure. So that is the biggest challenge why I said SME funding is a major problem. So what product are we going to sell? If Mr. Ben said, I need a model. In the next slide there, you see is the conventional financing model, which is debt and equity. In the debt and equity financing, you need collateral. They give you different things, third parties, insurance, all that stuff. But then, if you are running woman farming scheme, for example, so what is their collateral? There is no space in our banking sector for that. But now, let me show you the difference between Africa, Nigeria, in the funding model. Now, what the white people have done is, I heard they have farmers report 46 to 240. Now, imagine that we have a project for 46 farmers. Let's take a model, maize. We now have for another group of farmers 246. And I'm approaching Mr. Ben that what's the financing rate like? He's giving me single digit 9%. I now ask him, you have to help us. I have 46,000 farmers, but today you have 240,000 farmers. I don't want I want the single digit from your 9 to 1.2. It's a tough one for him. He's a finance expert. But the best solution is to say, okay, I need you to develop an agricultural corridor of minimum 12,000 hectares. Now, let me define agricultural corridor. You know why? For him to give me 9%, and I'm demanding for my farmers 1.2%. So I'm giving him, that's the model we're trying to build. How do we bring the interest rate down? So your interest rate is a function of overhead cost. You know better, some people here are rep to some people, so they know the requirement. So the only way Mr. Ben model can work is we now have, let's take from Southwest, our modeling cocoa, because it's an export. Because the next slide, the forex impact of funding. So we now say we have in Southwest 10,000 hectares of cocoa. It's giving my clients 9%, 46 farmers, 46,000 farmers, and the next one is 206,000 farmers. Without an agricultural corridor, Mr. Ben cannot break even and profitable. Or there can't be reliable sustainability in that product. Why? The overhead costs will be high for 46. Even at 246,000 people, it will still be high. So now we decide to now build Southwest Cocoa Agricultural Corridor. Now we move to South-South. They do cocoa. We are modeling now. To do the same 10,000 people, probably 10,000 hectares. We now move to North Central because where you plant your ginger, you can still dehumid. You can do Benue, you can do part of Noja, Mokwa. You understand? You can still do some cocoa. So he now has 10,000 hectare Southwest corridor. We now also have on the south of Nigeria, Imo will do cocoa on the eastern part. All that. So because of that agricultural corridor and the infrastructure in place, his overhead will reduce. Now, he has bringing value added into cocoa, not just farm and sell. So this is what you see countries like China doing that to attract America. Now, that model I said Mr. Ben is trying to build, they've done that in China called Road 1. Road 1 project in China, Shanghai and the rest, it is linked to 84 countries of the world. That's why you will see the best American big thinker, big money, big tech company, they produce in China. For example, Apple has a 20-year contract. It's not produced in China. It is designed in China, designed in America by Apple, produced in China. The same thing Elon Musk's car. Did you see that? It's there. So infrastructural development is the heart of funding. So if we play the card of 46,000 to 260,000, we now have agricultural corridor right there. The farmers will not sell raw materials. They will now be able to store, there's silo, there's all that facilities there. So he too, because since there are more players, he can afford to say, okay, I can take your offer of 1.2% instead of 9. So that is the secret why China is breaking even. Same thing you see India, the copy. Same thing you see Argentina, the copy. So the infrastructural part of business in time of sectorial area is huge. That's why I make my first statement from his analysis that the value of dam does not show on balance sheet. So this is the only way that you can now make farming or any sector you are branding or branching into very sustainable. So if you do agricultural corridor, you can have an housing scheme. It has a multiple productivity impact factor, not just that. Because you know the land space is high and everybody will plug in and you can drop the price. So the model they are building cannot just be debt. You know, in business, if you borrow me with collateral, it's called debt. If you have equity that I take 40%, 30%, you now become equity. Now, the future of funding has to be hybrid, which means you grow the customer, you grow the client, you can, you know, there are other models in the Arab what they call Suri. You know, they don't take debt or equity, they do profit share. You understand? I mean, different language, they have their own version of it. So, but hybrid finance is the future that he is trying to push for tomorrow. Like I give you now an example of cocoa. Do you understand? So let's take fish now. If you have in Kogi, for example, they have confluence, water and all that, you are getting fish farmer. If you build infrastructure of, let's say, 1,000 meter by 1 meter and probably 10 meter deep, you know, you can put the mesh, the fish wound. So after that infrastructure is there, you can retail it. You make more money. And the farmers will be able to make more profit. You understand? So let's come to the next part of the slide, which means that when you borrow money in Nigeria, that I'm building a factory, there is the challenge where we have the forex component now. You know the problem. I just give you the crude oil thing that we are doing $100, for example, per barrel, and we have 36 products. It's not possible to make $1 interest in each value chain. So come to how do we fix this challenge of forex? Because you see today, the problem is dollar is 1,560, or let's say 1.5. So our problem here has to be the issue of also development. So if you have, and if we follow the normal model that I farm cocoa and sell, as a country, as a business, I will have an issue. Let's compare Maistrade to GTB, for example. Let's do comparative analysis. Now, Mr. Ben has in Southwest, let's make it easy to understand, 6 states. And he has just 10 farmers that is exporting $5,000 per week. Okay? So automatically, that is export, I mean, what they do, like cocoa, whatever, you know. So each farmer is making $20,000. GT is just doing transaction. Mr. Ben is focusing on export grade, quality of food. But you know, for Mr. Ben to do that, if it's cocoa, he now has to make sure there's technology. For example, you cannot use Gamalin 20 on cocoa. They won't buy it in America because they'll say traceability, pesticide resistance. So he, Mr. Ben, must fund a technology company to do organic and all that so that there's no residue. You understand? So that he can say, each farmer can do 5,000 export. Okay. Now, I'm comparing GT to Maistrade now. So GT is just doing transaction. He's building the farmer. First line, he has to get people who do organics so that there's no residue because we are modeling cocoa. So if 10 farmer is even doing 20,000 export every farming season. So you now notice that they now have, the same farmer has dollar in their escrow account. Okay? Now, our traditional bank, GT and the rest, they have to go to CBN to buy to sell. So Mr. Ben also has farmers, key 20 farmers that is doing export. So he has forex. So he doesn't have a forex component challenge when he's funding because he can talk to his farmer. Because he has highlighted 20 farmers that can do export grade of, ABCD. So in a month across the country, check his balance sheet. You see, that is development. That is not just ordinary finance. That's where the modeling is coming. But GT, First Bank, they come to you for transaction. And that is tied to US dollars because they need to buy to sell and they need to mark up. So there can be a future that is sustainable with this banking system. It's not a rocket science. So this is where we have the gap in Africa. But they have designed us to fall into the trap. But we need to remodel that to make it easy. Let's take the West, I was explaining. If Southwest Nigeria, Awolowo, precisely by history, they were doing cocoa house 24 story for how many years? 1962. We just coconut crude oil. And it's still probably, I think Femi Johnson's 31 story. Cocoa house is 24. How many, do we have 31 story building in Abuja that they have crude oil? Even in River State, there's no 30-story building that they have crude oil. But we see the balance sheet, the budget runs into trillion. You see, finance is not that straight. It's a wicked problem. Because when we make finance transaction, there's no future. But when we make finance developmental, what happens? There's a multiple impact. And that is the model the Chinese are running. That's why he said, he went to a conference, the 6th edition, the 24th edition, they are still doing the same thing. So, the difference between a problem and a wicked problem is the answer to a problem. You can find a straight answer. I am hungry. I'm going home. You put me in a car. But when you are saying wicked problem, the answer has to be in a framework, in range. Do you understand? You see, we say, how does Ben create dollars? How does he make the farmers multimillionaire? He has to create that system, which means it's not enough to finance your farmer. You have to make sure that their balance sheet is stable, which means they cannot pay your loan. For example, I go to GT to borrow money to do a factory. They say you are doing the machine component, importing is in dollars, and I have to pay back in dollar. And if I produce in Nigeria, sell in Nigeria, I can't balance. It's not possible. I'm deceiving myself. So you can see why the system is designed to fail. The collateral won't support it at this rate. So if I make 100,000 naira every day, divide by 1,560 to pay that dollar rate, it won't work. All of you will know it won't work. So if I'm not doing an export driven or defining a solution for my client to be sustainable, so this is the trap of finance. So the systemic design of finance globally is for you to owe them. You see what he's trying to say? He's trying to model to make it sustainable. They don't want you to, because if you check, if we borrow $1 billion, we'll pay $4 billion in 10 years, and they don't want you to pay back. So that your power of your currency is down. Then you want to increase your country, your productivity index is low. We are importing toothpick. We are importing, let's take farming for example, weed killer, chemical we are importing. So how do we come out? And the same person that gives the farmer the weed killer is the one that rejects the same produce for cocoa, yam and beans. Hello? So is agriculture a simple problem? No. It's a wicked one because the same guy that gives me chemical is rejecting what he offers me. Did you see the issue now? But they tell us, no, no, no. So we have to have an homegrown solution. Did you get the game? Where you work with the farmers. So, for example, if you see here now, this is just the early stage farming, growth stage, circle. I mean, did you see how it goes? You see, they won't let you leave that bottom. Because if you leave that bottom, they are not safe. Did you understand? Let's take a model. Mr. Ben has probably 5 million farmers. And they are doing $1 a day. Multiplied by 365 days. Won't CBN buy equity here? I mean, there's no... Did you get what I mean? He said, I'm not selling... All of you are not going to sell in Nigeria because let's just... I have a contract for 10 years in China. Let's take Apple. Apple signed with China for 20 years to manufacture something they will sell, they will produce in China and sell in America. Can Apple be poor? Look at Elon Musk. He makes a car in China, sell it in America. And he has a treaty with the American government that he borrowed money that nobody can sell the same electronic car except the one that is produced internally. But you can't compete with him internally because the cost of production is high. They don't have infrastructure of production. Did you hear what I just said? So if Mr. Ben will balance that every day he's making $1 per farmer, and he has, even if it's just 365 farmer, multiplied by that, did you understand? So the infrastructure of production is the challenge in financing. Did you understand? So you see, the China, they do road 1, I told you 86 country, because if you don't move up there, you understand that even when if you build a farmer, he has farmed for 20 years. You see that peak there, private, that the Baba is doing cocoa is now 60. You can bring somebody who will do an equity. Baba is doing 1,000 hectares. He will move into 5,000 hectares. Baba is not going to be poor. He's rich. He has funding. He has a guaranteed market. And he's not selling local. And you now tell the Baba, don't sell raw cocoa anymore. Process it. And the law of production is, if I take your raw material and I process it, I can put 30% markup. Did you get the game? Everywhere in the world, it's allowed. So even if you buy the cocoa powder, you go and move Ben chocolate in Ghana, you still put 30%. Did you see how wealth is created? So the future is value chain. Hello. So they will never allow us to do value chain. So forget the growth of Naira with this structure we have in place. So that is the analysis why all this is a narrative we have to know, that we need to change the structure of development. Did you understand? My friend is from one of my supervisors. He said we have the highest professor. Professor does not show on balance sheet. It's just theory. It's A4 sheet of paper. The state is poor, but they have a human capital they cannot transfer or come. Did you understand? So when you say you have a PhD, it's just A4 sheet of paper. You need to make a transpose or change it. If my father is selling cocoa to train me go school, I now finish and I'm still doing what my father is doing, something is wrong with me, which means my father is better than me. Did you understand? Because he can't spend money for me to school. I can't move from level 1 to level 2. If my mama is doing akara, and I cannot go to school and do that akara, which means I export the powder, I export the cake, something is wrong with me. Mama has given me fundamental. And that is a career all I like to go to school. So that's why you see in Nigeria, there is no one business in Nigeria in the last 65 years. Let me prove it to you. Where is Abiola's business? Is there any transpose? It's dead. Let's don't start making them their name. Let's leave them like that. You know why? You see, in the Asian business and the other people like the Jews, they will make sure that if Mama has 4 children, all of us have PhD medicine, one person will continue where Mama did. Check these Lebanese in Nigeria. Check the Indians in Nigeria. I can tell you all this, but I'm close to them. I do business development, local and international. So how can my daddy do something 40 and I can't hand over? After PhD, MSc, London, Toronto. So the problem is for us to transpose. So when you see the Hebrew today, they will beg for money. If Dangote is not sure, he will go beg. These boys go blow the money. Check, where is the Hebrew bank? You can mention, it's not the Nigerian issue, it's the black man issue. Because if you don't define the problem well, that's why I said it's a wicked problem. Where is diamond? They don't buy him. If Asa has that man die, so somebody go buy him. I know cost them. Because life is about procedure. That's what we are trying to achieve. That a model is a simple representation of a reality. Not be fine boy. Did you understand? I mean, let me give you somebody by saying now we're moving to generational business. I mean, from the presentation. If Mike Adenuga has underground cable from Nigeria to Europe and he's not using it, something is wrong with him. You know why? The children are comfortable with the flat balance sheet. If he's an Indian man, the children will be thinking about, and his license as a case study is the best thing they can give to any black man in this continent. Too cheap. It is mobile. It is national infrastructure. It's not mobile line. It's not MTN. Now compare Glo. Coca-Cola. They didn't patent it. How did they keep tracing it? They know that somebody in the family must stay, make me pass around. I mean, it now become what? Tracing it. So go back to the fake model. If I patent after 20 years, the same person that gives me patent, the same person that gave me patent after 20 years, we say, Mr. Ayo or Dr. Ayo, is now in the public space. Everybody go public. Did you see? So my money will now begin to go down. So the Chinese will wait for us in the Western thinking.
Hello. Your phone is working.
Hello. They will wait for me to patent. After 20 years, they go market. They say they want franchise. Now they will make more money than you. So you check in history. Teach you in any business school because you won't come back. Did you get why I said Africa? Now we are supposed to keep that thing in. Did you understand? To be generational from mama to Peking to Abi. The money. Let's take. You know Alabukun? Good. It's the best product Africa ever produced. Do you know why? The man no patent ammo, and he's still as active since 1969. Check. They no change the name. A friend of mine traveled to Europe. He took Alabukun, put it in a pack. When he got to the, they say a hard drug. They call all their, they begin to. They say, what is Alabukun? Alabukun. He said, na Yoruba name. He said, you go fine. You can't it's a Yoruba name. They now put the guy three. They now begin to call Nigeria. What is Alabukun? He said, why don't you take Panadol? He said, it's better than Panadol. He said, it's still painkiller. They go begin to do analysis. What is the content? He said, I don't know. Now, waiting I buy, I give you. Why don't you? Why? He said, you don't have Alabukun in London. You don't have it in South Korea. You see, if the man don't patent them, they will use less. Did you understand? They will make more money than him. You see why I said Africa? So we must build capacity for our local people. we must own what they give us by nature for us to pass it on. Did you understand the game? Now, let me show you when I said Africa cannot develop. There is these yo-yo bitters. Abi? The woman started it. It was the pharmacy, no money. Somebody financing, gave him money. So they couldn't do it in Nigeria. He now carry all the local agbo, you know, the Yoruba thing now, took it to London, and they now brand it, do the thing for the woman. So they were now bringing it. So you see, yo-yo bitters could compete with Swedish bitter. If you see the old people like my mama, they don't know yo-yo bitter. So you see, she wanted to break that jinx, that this thing that they do, because she did a PhD or master's in pharmacy, but there was no infrastructure to produce. So somebody 5 years ago now did a test. You know, they now have copy now, Abi? No one has that same quality like yo-yo bitter. So making money is about resilience. You see? Ability to absorb shock. Did you understand? And for it to be sustainable, we need to pass it on. Did you understand? So we need to build model that can make our business sustainable. The white man can never teach you sustainability plan. Forget it. Because you ask us 65 years, we're still importing crude oil, flaring gas, and they are happy with it. Dollar is going up. So how do we explain this? Why one line product? 4 lines, if we do cocoa well, let's even take ginger. By 2030, the value of ginger is $6.5 billion. How many banks in Nigeria can post $1 billion in a year if they fund all the farmers? Let's just take one line like that. So it is easy for us to be able to make so much money if we focus on putting the word development from our academic institution. Because the way the academic model is designed, this country does not have a future. People who have done PhD will attest to it. Because you see somebody will drop his PhD and there's no development. 10 years after, he writes papers, 45 or 40, they promote him as professor. And in the same Ondo, that is hotbed for, you can do rubber. I'm just giving a model like it is stated. You can do rubber, you can do cocoa, you can do ginger, you can do, that's how many value chain? But they claim they are academics. So it is industry that drives academics. Academics don't drive industry. So the Ekiti man should say it's hallelujah, JJ, that have the largest professor. It doesn't make any sense globally. Do you understand? Now, no, it's not about telling them, because even in America, our academics here, now you both they fund also. Now industry, they fund. You know, even in America too, you know, they do something, they pay them, they work for them. So how do we change innovation and research to make value for our people? Hello, did you understand? Now, let me show you something. Somebody told me something that, you know, all these are kidney disease thing. But you both now do a research. Our own cow here, the urine. You know this gallstone, this gallbladder, when you kill chicken, that green thing. For Africa, if you take them, they clean that kidney wahala. It's here. A friend of mine called me 2 years ago. He said he need 30 trailer of Zobo. I said, Zobo? I said, what do you want to take and do? He said in Turkey, they blend it to do wine now. That, have you not noticed that even Zobo that used to buy small now, they just tell you 1 ton is 1.7, 1.8. Zobo? Did you? Now, look at ginger. Ginger is minimum of 16 million naira per ton. Ask anybody farming ginger or call your local people. What happened? No. Is it a lie? So imagine if Mr. Ben is farming 1,000 farmers of ginger in 10 states. Will you say you cannot fund your farmers? Did you understand? Because you see, you need to design its finance model to have the dollar balance sheet and the naira balance sheet. And then they can decide to collect a contract for ginger for probably 50 metric tons for 5 years. Now retail that concept and train his own farmers. Did you understand? So farming makes sense if we put development into research. Then if we now have a hybrid of finance so that the risk factor can be managed well. That's why the future of, we're just using agriculture as a model. the future of agriculture is for the country to do what? Agricultural corridor. Now, our biggest challenge in Nigeria, Africa, is farmers' headers clash. Now, nobody's funding agriculture. You are aware of that. This cow will chop this corn. You're all aware, every bank, how do we manage this cow coming? But you see, if you send your email to Mr. Ben, I can give you a breakdown analytics to show that the way the agriculture in Nigeria is done, there is infrastructure to keep the animal where they are. But we don't have that ability to sit down to do development. Let's take Niger as a model. Okay? They have 2 dams. The largest landmass. The whole of Niger is about, the southeast is about 69% of Niger. So what kind of grass can they eat up there that there's no water infrastructure in Niger for everybody to come from Kanuri Kingdom, Borno, Kafanchan, Potiskum, they can't eat. But you see, nobody's optimized. They have to come down where the natural. So if you don't take a risk and optimize in business, it can be. Did you get the game? Let's take our cocoa now. How can government tell us to be selling cocoa instead of value chain? We've done cocoa for almost 100 years, and there's no one chocolate factory in Southwest Nigeria. Something is missing. Something is wrong with somebody. Do you understand? Do you understand? So I don't know. So now comes to what they call